The real estate market is currently slower than it was during COVID, and this is prompting buyers and sellers to explore more creative ways to make money. Some of these creative transactions are insurable, while others are not. A common type of transaction that I was asked to do a tip on this week is a subject to transaction. In this arrangement, the title to the property is transferred to the buyer, but the seller's mortgage lien remains on the property. Unlike an assumption, the buyer does not assume responsibility for the mortgage payments, leaving the seller responsible until the mortgage is actually paid off. Often, buyers are proposing these transactions to sellers who are behind on their mortgage payments or are in pre-foreclosure and need to sell quickly. They choose subject to transactions over assumptions because buyers informally agree to bring the loan current and continue making payments without the legal obligation of a formal assumption. Typically, these buyers are real estate investors looking to leverage lower interest rates on existing mortgages rather than securing new loans at higher rates and incurring additional costs. These investors usually plan to flip the house quickly for a profit to pay off the existing mortgage. These may be insurable if buyer is truly moving out and relinquishing their ownership and all rights in the property. However, these subject to transactions are highly risky. Both subject to transactions and assumptions carry risk if parties do not obtain lender approval, such as the lender may call the loan due under the due on sale clause. This could force the buyer to pay off the home immediately or face foreclosure. But subject to transactions add further risks, such as the seller's credit may suffer if the buyer fails to make payments, with no recourse against the buyer since the buyer has not formally agreed to assume payment of the debt. And if seller is not moving out or not fully relinquishing the rights to the property, or maybe there's a question as to the matter, the subject to transactions will likely not be insurable. For example, sometimes we see subject to transactions proposed as a way for an investor to bring an owner's delinquent mortgage current, a type of foreclosure rescue, while allowing the seller to stay in the home. The seller intends to make rental payments to the buyer to pay them back for bringing their loan current, and eventually for the buyer to deed the property back to the seller. This is not insurable, because the whole transaction could be deemed a sham sale, where the seller never really relinquished their homestead rights, and where the sale was really a disguised illegal home equity loan. Regardless of any good intentions of the parties, Texas has strict laws with regards to the type of loans that may be taken out on homestead. So any attempts to avoid those rules could result in issues, such as a bankruptcy trustee attempting to void the sale, claiming it was intended to defraud creditors, and is a violation of the Texas Constitution's home equity loan laws and prohibitions on pretend sales. You as realtors must prioritize your client's best interest and help them make informed decisions. Sellers behind on their mortgage can often work with their lender to delay foreclosure while selling the home traditionally, ensuring that the mortgage is paid off at closing. And if they want to stay in the home, there may be other options available to work with the lender or government programs to avoid foreclosure, such as loan modifications. They should avoid predatory foreclosure prevention offers from investors that may result in a significant equity loss. Always consult with us if there are any unusual contract terms, as while these options are creative, they pose a substantial risk for all parties involved, and you may be able to direct them to a solution that allows you to earn a deal and save the owner their equity and their credit. See you at the closing table, and send your next tip idea to tipoftheweek@allegiancetitle.com.